Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry, and we are here live on Get Out There, Get Known podcast. And I'm excited today because we have today Kelsey Nicole Nelson joining us today, DMV area award winning journalist, all things communication, storyteller, journalist. And you will learn a lot from this show because we're going to talk a little bit about how to get out there, get known, and she's going to drop some nuggets for us as well to tell us about how we do that. And but before we get into that, I want to just talk about an event that's coming up here in the DMV area called Speak, Sell, and Shine. It's an event that's going to be held at the Howard Theater, and I really think that it's something that I love speakers and authors that I really want speakers and authors to know about. They don't necessarily have to be from the DMV, but that's where we're going to be having it. And then we're going to be doing something special at the press club. So, right after this, I'm going to bring up Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
Speak, Sell, Shine, an exclusive event in Washington, D.C. Are you ready to turn your expertise into a profitable speaking business that amplifies your influence? I'm Ryan Dorn. Join Dr. Pam Perry and I for the exclusive Speak, Sell, Shine event. Maybe you're a thought leader out there sharing in your local community. Well, now it's time to go big time and get paid to speak. Speak, Sell, Shine. Maybe you've booked some engagements, but you know your wisdom, it warrants so much more. Well, now it's time to unlock the missing piece and get you the gigs that truly reflect your brilliance. Join us for an exclusive 2-day event at the beautiful and historic Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., October 8th and the 9th. We're going to give you the tools to position yourself as a high-value resource and get the speaking gigs you deserve. I'm Emmy Award-winning speaker Ryan Dorn. I'm going to share with you my tips and tricks. I'm booking 40 to 60 gigs a year, and you can too. You're going to leave with a video speaker reel that is high class, polished headshots, branding materials, and only 20 people are going to get this privilege. This is our second annual event. SpeakSellShine.com is the website. Apply to be considered. Turn your brilliance into a lucrative speaking career and get interviewed by the media as well. Meet us all in Washington, D.C. Friends, the time is now. Speak, sell, and shine. The time is now. Apply today.
There we go. Hey, Kelsey Nicole, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Perry. I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. Happy
Good.
Wednesday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It is Wednesday, Women Crush Wednesday. So I've been seeing all the things that you've been doing, and I have a woman crush on you because you are so fabulous in terms of all the things that you're doing. I want to read a little bit of some of the things. You have a career obviously in broadcast journalism, but you're also a passionate storyteller and influencer. And really you build up your brand and you help others build up their brand. You've have over a decade experience. And one of the things that you are a public speaker, you're a brand strategist, you won a numerous awards. And one of the things is you use your platform, which is what I want to think, to fuel purpose with your passions. And that's one of the things that I just really, really like about what you do. And I'm just glad to have you. You saw the little thing about Speak, Sell, Shine. So I'm going to talk to you about that afterwards.
Yeah, look, fantastic.
I think there's some synergy there going on. So I was like, okay, that might be because we have the same kind of passion. So give us a little bit of your background of how you got the journalism bug, so to speak, or the broadcasting bug.
I feel like journalism was one of those things that chose me, like naturally growing up, I was always communicating with folks and everyone was always like, Kelsey's such a good talker. She's such a good speaker. Everybody wanted to come and tell me their stories. I was always the one that could hold everything, but I was also the one that could spread it to somebody else. And so, I think for me, I fell into journalism because I just like the power that journalists have, the power to influence. I'm very big on legacy building, right? So what legacy could I build? I remember when I was young, I'd run and watch the news with my parents and I'll never forget, like, just asking them, like, how many people are these like journalists talking to? And they're like, in some cases it's hundreds of thousands, in some cases millions. I'm like, millions? Like, I wanted in on that. I grew up in a suburban town. So just the thought of having access to people and being able to hold that power, right? It's one thing to be given power, but how do you hold that? And, for me, it's always like, how can I want to change the world when I was younger, right? I was watching Static Shock. I was watching Wonder Woman, Charmed, all those old shows that we used to love, and just kind of plugging myself in there. And so that's when I said, I want to be a journalist. And so I kind of, set my mind out. And luckily for me, sports journalism was kind of the thing that fit for me perfectly. Big avid sports fan, former athlete. And I think
Okay,
sports
there
touches
you go.
everything, right? So that's kind of why I love the sports kind of landscape in order to do that and spread the message. But honestly, like I said, I think it's just being put in position, in power, right? Like, so every time when I was younger, I was always like president of this or like leader of this, or Kelsey's going to be the one from the group to just, go up to the front and speak and share the ideas. So I feel like, God has blessed me with this. And so I'm so thankful. And now I'm just kind of trying to use and share my gift with the world. And it's been incredible. Like I would have never, when I was younger, thought like at 32, I'd be doing what I'm doing now. It's not just journalism, but as you said, speaking, and I go to different places to speak and motivate people of all ages and age ranges, and it means a lot to me. So I think for me, I'm thankful, for a lot of people that I saw growing up that inspired me. I wanted to be just like them, but obviously I've gotten older. I've got to do it in my own unique way with my own little unique twist and brand through KNN.
So who were some of the people that inspired you younger when you were like looking at them and say, oh, well, for me,
Yeah.
it was always Oprah. I was like,
Oh,
oh my God,
yes.
that's
Yes.
the icon, right? That's the icon. But what are some of the people that you saw growing up, or maybe some of the mentors that you had before you got into
Yeah.
the field?
I'm so glad you said Oprah, because for me, I mean, I don't want it to sound cliche, but like for me, I remember watching the Oprah Winfrey show, that 4 o'clock time frame. You go
Yeah.
watch Oprah. Yeah, I still remember because I was into Oprah. And then, she had I'm from Maryland originally, right? So she had touched Baltimore. My family's from Mississippi. So the fact that we had such a similar background, and I think I really resonated with Oprah because she essentially started as an underdog. And, people always tell me, why do you work so hard? What motivates you? And I tell people, I've been an underdog my whole life. All I know is how to work hard because I've always had to prove myself. So, Oprah has kind of been one of those people that I think has defied the odds. And then I love what she did with it. She parlayed it into starting her own, obviously, network and her own magazine. And what Oprah can't do, you see her in credits. She has TV shows. Like Oprah does it all. So I think, she was
Movies.
definitely one. Robin Roberts, is another one. Jane Kennedy, when you think about sports broadcasting,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Black women in that space. And, it's been amazing. Like I said, just watching Jim Vance in my neck of the woods, DC, a late, great Jim Vance, broadcasting legend. So all not to say, I think there's been so many, but like I said, just people who had not just power of the pen, but I'm into words, right? I love quotes. I love people who can really hold your attention. And so those are some of the folks I feel like when they talked, no matter what you were doing, you listened. And I want to be that broadcaster. When somebody's in the kitchen or picking up their kids from school, they hear your voice, and all of a sudden, like, you get their immediate attention. So I think those were some of the ones,
And
that.
that's something that so journalism is obviously, but
Yeah.
that's what you majored in, that's what you did. You love the
Yep.
words. But you could have been a print journalist and just did all the things print, all the
Right.
magazines, newspapers, and
Yeah.
that. But there's something about a journalist's voice that has that sound. I can't even explain what it is because I just talk regular, but there is a training, obviously, that a journalist has of what is the trick. I saw a young lady, she's in the area, she's not on the air anymore. Her and her husband are in the
I know you're
DMV.
talking about Robert and why is her name? I know exactly who you're talking about. Her name is Skip, but I know, yep, she used to work for our Fox 5 station.
Yes, and she
Yes,
used to do these
as the
TikToks with
anchor
this with
voice.
yeah, with the anchor voice. So the anchor voice. So do some of the anchor voice. And what does
Jeanette,
that
Jeanette
mean?
Reyes. I
Yes.
was like, her name is going to come back. It's so funny that you asked me this question because I get this question, and I'll tell you, I might be a little unique in this sense. And again, I come from sports broadcasting. So how I speak to you is actually how I speak on air. Now, I'm not saying I have the best broadcast voice, but it's worked for me because I think what happened was when I first came into the industry, Dr. Perry, I did try to do the anchor voice and sound like other people. But what I realized is that those people were already taken. Nobody wanted to hear me sound like anybody else. Again, this is my own
Yes.
story and own journey. Some people might have a different thing. But for me, once I kind of started, again, just being me and keeping it natural, I think a lot in sports journalism, and even just in journalism, your listeners, your viewers, your fans, whatever, they want authenticity. And they
Yes.
want you to be transparent. And I can't be what I'm not. So it's not to say I could, do a great, evening news voice if I wanted to, but that's not true to me. And so that's just kind of how I've been able to build my personal brand. So I think I actually do the opposite, right? I just how I talk to you is how I talk to my family. That's how I talk to my students in class on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. And this is also the voice that I bring to my broadcast work, right? So I think for me,
Okay.
it's been honestly the complete opposite. But what she did was so true. That's not to say that, like, a lot of times, so I don't have an agent. but I
Mhm.
have worked with PR reps and, I have worked with agents in the past. And they'll tell you a lot, vocal training is a thing. I have been through the Toastmaster training. I'm a former national pageant queen. I've done that stuff. Right.
What?
So all that to say, like, I understand what some people think they want you to hear and say. But for me, being true to me has been what's kind of, I think, helped to
It
parlay,
is.
my career and my journey. So I think I've had the opposite, but I do love their TikToks.
I
And so
know.
excited to see what they've
I wanna
continued.
say begins with the J, but I can't think of the name of
Jeanette
it right.
Reyes. I just thought about it. It was gonna hit my head. Jeanette. Yep. She
Jeanette.
she
Yes,
has
Jeanette
great
Reyes, and she has the funniest TikToks that, she and
She
her
is a
husband are
great
talking in their
creator.
anchor voice and things like that, but one of the things that you said you did, you love sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
So what was your field? Well, okay, so you were an athlete, so what were you playing? Was it track? Was it
Yeah. I did basketball and volleyball. So, I was tied to the Summer Olympics like this.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So I saw some of the videos then, Kelsey. So the height of you, so if you're playing basketball and volleyball, how tall are you?
See, I'm 5'8", so I used to be tall, but, like, it's funny, I have a student athlete that's a volleyball player in my class now, and it's funny, I will tell you, college will humble you because if you think you're tall, once you get to a big university, you will see you're not really tall, and really, like, a lot of the athletes, of course, that I covered in college, 'cause I didn't play in college, but they were over 6 feet tall, and so
Whoa.
I was
Okay.
a couple inches short.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not to say
So
you can't be 5'8" though and a great player. There are a lot of
so
5'8".
you so when I think about what you've done then in the
Yeah,
career in sports journalism and storytelling and in the broadcasting,
yeah.
doing pageants, doing athletes, it's well rounded.
Oh, thank you.
And so one of the things I want you to talk a little bit about is the current company or the business that you have. And I want you to tell
Yeah.
me where this name came from, okay, Miss Lady? Because I was like, okay, I know the KNN, all
Yep.
right, because those are your initials, but give
Correct.
me where this came from. Is it
Yeah. No, so I'm so glad you highlighted this. So Cryption is my multimedia, media and communications consulting company. So essentially, this is where people are able to contact me to do what we're talking about, right? Hey, Kelsey, I want to help. I want to build my brand. I want to learn how to, obviously sell myself to different audiences. I want to work with you. So this is kind of the company that people go to me for. I work with a lot of different nonprofit groups and individuals, a lot of executives, again, anybody that's really trying to learn how to tell their story. I think we all have a story, but how are you able
Mhm.
to tell it in an engaging way? So it's been amazing, and I kind of fell into this because what happened was I was working for other companies at the time, but everybody wanted me to do side projects, and I'm doing all these side projects. My tax person's like, "You need to make this an LLC, or we're going to have a lot of trouble." So
That's true.
essentially, I was like, that's kind of where the business, was born, and I fell into entrepreneurship. But I absolutely love it. I think it's a new freedom, and I think it's your way to build generational wealth if done
Yeah.
right, right? Because I think a lot of times you talk about the success of entrepreneurship, but not the failures and struggles of entrepreneurship. So it is a journey. It's been a learning curve. But again, I'm so glad to have something that's mine. And as you said, so I brand everything I do with my initials because that's my brand, right? That's the
Yeah.
name. Thank you, Joe and Libby, my parents that gave me the name. And who would have known, years later, that it would be something that I'm able to capitalize off of. And what people know me as, I mean, I meet people all the time like, hey, KNN. And it's
Yeah.
amazing, that it's really resonated that way. But I did Cryption because I have always been into the Egyptians, right? I'm a big history buff. I studied journalism, but also African American studies. I TA'd African civilizations. And so I fell into
Ah,
just knowing Black greatness, right? Black excellence. And so the whole kind of theme was Egyptian themed. And of course, I went at the KNN and I thought about like Kryptonian and, there's so many different things there. But initially I was like, okay, how do I start a company that's Egyptian themed with my name in it that's empowering? And that's kind of where
mhm.
Cryption was born. And it wasn't something unique too. I wanted something when people put it in a search engine, like it's going to come up, to
Yes.
be exactly me. So that's kind of the theme of it. We have the black and gold colors.
Yes.
And it's funny because like last year I was actually speaking on a show in Dubai about Cleopatra and
Mm.
actually talking about why she is black and why she was black, essentially. It's a hot topic if people don't know that. And it kind of was spurred from the docu-series that Jada Pinkett Smith made on the African Black Queens. I don't know if you remember that series,
Mm.
but it caused some
Mm.
controversy because there are some people, who want to say she's Macedonian or
No,
Greek,
no,
or
she
all
was
these other
black.
things. Right.
Yeah.
So, kind of set the record straight. So I think it's a good reminder that this company also can kind of hopefully help, help many remember the history that should be taught and making
I
sure that we
love
don't forget
I
the Black
love
greatness and
that.
excellence that we came from.
So, Kelsey, you have like it's holistic. Everything is strategic in terms of what you've been
Oh,
doing
yes. Oh, yes.
in your life, and it's really purposeful. It's intentional.
Yeah.
Where do you teach? Where do you teach? You
Yeah,
said
so
Tuesdays and
I
Thursdays.
in the morning, I'm at George Washington University. I teach Introduction to Sports Writing and Reporting. It's a
Oh,
brand new course that I built from scratch, and so this is the inaugural debut year,
I
of the course.
love it.
It's so fun. So we're 19 students strong, and
Wow.
already planning for next semester. So shout out to the revolutionaries in
Yeah.
DC.
So, in terms of male and female, how many? 50-50,
It's
40?
about it's like 50-50, I would say, and that makes me so excited because I remember when
Yes.
I was in school, and I like to think it wasn't that long ago. I graduated from Maryland in 2014, but, it wasn't that, I remember being
It
and
was
I was in groups at
mostly
Mar
guys.
males, right? So it's
Mhm.
inspiring to me, and, I've had students outside of the class also reach out to talk to me, and, it's been so humbling, students that say, like, "I followed your career, I'd love to learn from you." Like, I think
See?
once you teach, I think it really shows you life, 360, right? What you've done, but even more so what you're able to give back, and pour
Mhm.
into young people, but also what they're able to pour into you, right? Because I'm still a lifelong learner and I'm still taking so much from them. So
I
they take
love
my
it.
Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9:15 in
Oh
the
my
morning.
oh my god. So you came out of school, now you're teaching at you have your MBA or you're working on your MBA?
I have my master's, but my MBA is it's in the works. It's funny because I was going to go get my MBA, and then this great teaching opportunity came at George Washington, so I had to put that on hold.
Yeah.
But it's still so probably in the near future. And everyone's like, Kelsey, when are you going to find the time to do it? But if you know me, there is nothing that's too big. So it will be soon because now that I have two businesses, I want that. I do
Mhm.
a lot, but I think there's always so much more I can learn, and there's so much
Yes.
more I can be better at. So I'm super excited to enter that next phase of my journey soon.
There has been a lot of, incubators or, like the Fearless Fund by Erin Simone, she's
Yeah,
done that. There's been, all kinds of Goldman Sachs, they have a 100 the 100
I've seen
so
that, yeah.
have
Mhm.
you been in any of those type of
No,
organizations or
not yet. I need to tell so I'm on I think Threads is where I've been seeing a lot. So, obviously joined the Threads craze, right, our new
Tory
social
Burch has
media
one
craze.
as well, I forgot Tory Burch has
With
one,
Tory
yes.
Burch, and I keep seeing women that talk about they're getting into that. So that's kind of why
Yeah.
I feel like I've done so much in the journalism and broadcast realm. And that's gonna kind of be my next pivot. And that's kind of again why I want the MBA because I want to enter that because again, I think I think people know me as the broadcaster, right? They know my media
Mhm.
communications career. And I think they're like, okay, Kelsey has a business, but I want to make sure they're taking me seriously as a business owner. And so I think, being
Yeah.
able to be in an organization like that. And again, learn the ropes with and be inspired, right? By those other bad women that are doing so
Mhm.
many things.
It
I
is.
think it would be the right space for me. So hopefully soon you'll
Networking is
see an
part of
application
it.
in there.
Yeah, networking is a
Hopefully I'll get
big part
accepted.
of that. Yeah, the Goldman
Yes.
Sachs, the Tory Burches. I mean, there's a lot of them, Dell. I mean,
That
they
are
are
doing it.
incubators specifically for African American women. And there's an organization I'm involved in the DMV area. That's where it
Yeah.
started. Is Sharon Morton. I'm gonna pull this up. It's
Okay.
magazine. So Sharon Morton started
Yeah.
the Black Door Society, and that's in the
Very
DMV. And
cool.
it's for Black women that are opening doors of
Oh,
opportunity
that's
and legacy
awesome.
for each other and for
Okay.
others. So that's one of
Oh,
the
I will
things
have to
too.
connect with her. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
I pulled this up because I want you to connect with her. She's
Yes.
also in the broadcasting field, journalism.
Awesome.
She's a, host for a show called Skin Deep on SiriusXM.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things. Again, a lot of journalists, they go into it because they see the connections, they have passions, and they try to pull it together. And
Right.
so one of the things she is when she was in college, she was a pageant queen, and people always used to say,
Nice.
"Oh, you're so beautiful." So now she has a skincare line, right?
Oh, I
So
love
it's like she's
that.
almost 60. I don't know if you can
And
see
she
that
looks
or not.
amazing, like the good
Mm.
black jeans.
Yes, yes. So that's why it's like, okay, we're
Looks
gonna do
great.
this skincare line because people want to know my secrets. So that's one of the
See?
things as
That's
well.
awesome.
So Cryptian, um, am I pronouncing it right?
You are saying it right. I know, it's funny, whenever I'm on stage and people read my bio, they're always like, "Is that right?" And they
Is it
usually
Crypt?
90% of the
Yes.
time, you say it right the first
Yes.
time.
So that is one of the things that out of that, you're doing the training, you're doing the branding. And so are you doing courses or classes soon with your branding classes or membership? I think I
Yeah,
saw something about
yes, oh, you
membership.
are talking my language, yeah, so I have an amazing intern right now, I'm working with Abe, and I am actually gonna start a membership course, so I have recently, because it's so much easier. Everyone had been coming to me, and obviously I will still do one-on-one for some individuals, but there's so many
Mhm.
people asking me, and I want to be able to offer and give my best self, right? So I'm excited to be launching the membership. So if you go to my website, you'll see we have a advertisement up for that, and hopefully later this fall, around November, is when I'm planning to launch that. So super
Yeah.
excited, just because I kind of want to reach and touch people, hopefully, in a way that, God has inspired me and blessed me to be able, because it's just so important to, again, just be able to communicate. At the end of the day, I'm a storyteller. And I just
Yeah.
want to help people tell that story in their own, unique fashion and way, and also obviously have the confidence to do it, right? Like when you speak, you need to speak with agency and authority, but that looks different for everybody. And
Mhm.
also, one thing I've learned that I hope to share through my membership courses too is just the power of vulnerability and storytelling. Nobody wants just the perfect person speaking to them. So I think there's also power in transparency, and there's power, in even our toughest times, being able to come out of that and speak to that power.
That is so true. So many people want to do more public speaking, and only years
Yeah.
ago, there was, like, a few places where people would learn public speaking, obviously
Mm,
in school, but
right.
Dale Carnegie was one from a long time ago. Then there
Uh-huh.
was Toastmasters, and
Yep.
Toastmasters
Toastmasters.
was that. But then
Yep.
people realized that in order to really move up in the corporate world, you have to speak well, and
You
so a
do.
lot of public, uh speaking coaches are now that's the thing now. So
Yeah.
it's because it's important. And now beyond just, oh, I have to speak well at work and do
Yeah.
presentations at work, now people are really taking the stage. And that's part of why, I do the speakers magazine. The
Yeah.
magazine is really filled with a lot of people
Amazing.
who
Yeah.
are everyday people who are,
Yeah.
for hire
Yep.
to
I'm glad
speak.
you said that part, because
Yeah, for hire to
for
speak.
hire.
Yes, yes, because it's it's content, and so many times that, we give out our content for free, it's easy for us to do, but I like the fact that you said that you're really taking your passion, turning it into a profit, because even though it's easy for us, it's a gift, and so
Right.
you want to make sure that you're being rewarded for
For
the
sure.
work that you poured
Right.
into it. You've got one master's, you're working on another master's soon, and you're doing it, so all of those things are important when
Yeah.
you are trying to start a business and
Right.
people are hiring you to speak,
Right.
because people say, oh, well, it's just an hour of me speaking, but it's not just that hour. It's been the years leading up to that hour that
Right.
makes
It's
it so that
all of the
all the
built-up
experiences you're
work.
bringing with you. Yes, yes,
Correct,
that,
correct. I love
that,
that you speak to this, because there'll be times, and it's like, it's so I'll say this. I feel like I'm true to it, not new to it. And when I say that, I mean, you said it, like I've poured a lot into this, right? Like, not I
mhm,
studied this, I have been doing it in real life. And, obviously I've been on a lot of amazing stages and places. And so all that to say, and I was in a conversation recently with a colleague, and we were talking about it, and the numbers prove it, that actually Black women, sometimes we are the least often to get paid for these types of opportunities. And I think sometimes it's because we're not speaking up, or standing up for ourselves. And, I think that's something that is learned, right? Like when I first started, because I'll have students come to me and, like, immediately, obviously, like, and I think it's good, right? I think young people are so incredible and so amazing, and they have so many platforms now that they're able to do it. But, I am
mhm,
maybe old school and thought that, like, I think you have to pay your dues. So essentially meaning, for me, I had to build up my brand. So when I was first doing it, people did not have to pay me, right? I was looking to build my platform, looking for that
yeah,
opportunity. But, obviously now I am, over 10 years in, over a decade in. And so it looks much different. And, I think sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations with folks. You said it, like, your time is valuable. I do a lot
mhm,
of different things, and I like to think I do a lot of different things well. I don't just do them to do them. And for me to give you quality and, what you want, I do think that there has to be power spoken into, getting fairly compensated for the work
yes,
that you offer, and for the background that you bring, and also the influence, right, that you're going to have over people. Like, if you have a confidence, I feel confident enough when I speak on a stage, I feel confident enough that I'm going to get good feedback and good reflection, and hopefully make that organization that hired me, or that person, look even better,
yeah.
right? And so it's a mutually beneficial thing. But I'm glad you said that, because there are sometimes people that, like, somehow don't realize why you want to get paid.
No, and then a lot of
That
times
comes to me.
women will not ask, and that's just a
Yeah.
thing where men will, like, not a problem, but women always take a
Yeah.
little bit of a, and so just recently, I think over the last 10 years or so, more and more women are just beginning to know
Yeah.
their value and ask for that value. And that's really,
Yes.
really key. The membership programs, or even like some of the incubators. I have a membership
Yeah.
program, Ready, Set, Go, Speak. It is one
Yeah.
of those things where it started because so many times people would call and or want to say, I want to take you to lunch and I want to pick your brain. It's
Oh, I
like,
get that a
ooh,
lot.
I was like, pick my brain. And like you said at the beginning, you don't want to be really harsh or
Right.
you know, but at a certain point in time, if you're spending so much time having your brain picked, you have no more brain left. So you've
Right.
got to
What left do you have to
it's
give?
like and so I put all of my, intellectual property, the courses, I put,
Nice.
there's like 4 courses in there, each one are about 13, modules each. There
Yeah.
are Q&A in there, there is, we do lives in there. So there's a lot of, I put leads in there for media,
Yeah.
the people can know, where they can go to pitch themselves or leads for
Mhm.
speaking, and it's within there. So when someone says, "I wanna pick my brain," I'll say, "You could join my membership community." And
Yep.
it's very reasonable for to join it for a year, and it's like,
Right.
that's where you go, and it
Yeah.
helps to deflect anyone who you feel may be not valuing you, but you're helping them. It's helping you
Right.
at a place where it's good for you. So I
Right.
can put all of it in it's like you're putting it in a capsule.
Yeah.
You're putting it in a capsule, and this is where you go, and you can pull the information. You could pick my
Right.
brain there.
All you want, as
You
many
can pick
modules
it
as
all
you need to
there. I
get.
mean, if you think about it, it's like 3 courses that are like 13 weeks each,
Awesome. Yeah.
okay? And then they can ask questions at any point in time for me at that point because they're part of
Yeah.
that community. So and also too, it builds a community as well. So I
Right.
really
Others. Yeah.
that is the membership. When you get that, make sure that you send that information to me so I can promote that
Oh,
for
thank you.
you as
I
well, like you do.
definitely will. I definitely will.
Yeah,
I've
because
been
I
looking forward
love,
to getting out there.
promoting things and writing stories on, people that are doing extraordinary things and people that
Yeah.
are launching things. I just told someone the other day, I think they're getting their honorary doctorate, and I
Okay.
have an honorary doctorate. So I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
let's do a press release out. Let's get a story out about it." It's like, "Oh, really?" I was like,
Yeah.
That's when it's news. It's like when it's new."
Right. When it first happens.
It's like, so let's do it. It's and again, that's just because that's how our brain works. It's like that's news. That's something that we
Yeah.
can kind of, put
It's an
some, beside
accomplishment. Yeah. That's
just pushing
awesome.
it. And those are the
Yeah.
kind of things. So I just thank you so much for joining us today. There's a
Of
comment over
course.
here. Oh my goodness. So someone said so true. Okay. So I get all wrapped up in the podcast that I don't look at the comments, even though we're streaming. So thank you so much. So true. So whatever it was, of course, she's gonna drop the nuggets. That is going to be true. So that is going to be true. So is there anything else before we kind of get out of here today that you would like our audience to know and get out there, get known, whether it's tips about
Yeah.
media or tips about how to really be more confident or how to blend your life. People say
Mm.
balance, but how to blend your life of
Yeah.
all your passions.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm still learning. It's so much. I've learned how to maximize the 24 hours, in the day. But I think, just do something that fulfills you. And you said it. My life mantra is, use your platform for a purpose fueled by your passions, my
Yes.
3 Ps. And I
Ah,
truly do mean that. And, for me, I've been so blessed to be able to use my broadcast platform. And to me, it's about giving back now. Again, that's why I teach. That's why I lead two internship programs under Listen In with KNN, and I have one under Kryptian. So I have 3 internship
wow.
programs in addition to my students. And I do a lot of speaking to young people because, like I said, my biggest thing is, what do you want to leave? For me, it's like, when I leave this world, what will my legacy be? And hopefully it was, not only she made people feel good, but she gave back and bled into the next generation. And so I'm super excited about that. I think the only other thing I'd say, is like, find what makes your brand unique. Whatever
Mm,
that is. Like I said, so for me, it just happened to be my name. People loved calling me my full name, and it has stuck. And KNN has been something so special, to me. But for somebody else, it might be a nickname. For you, it might be the family name, right? There's different things, but find what makes you uniquely you, and then run with it. And you said it, and then just build on your capital. You should be able to
Yep.
build and brand on what you bring to the world. And I'm so thankful, that my brand has allowed me to meet someone like you, Dr. Perry. I think you do such amazing work, and
oh,
I'm such a fan
thank
of
you.
all the great stuff you do. And I so appreciate you sharing your platform. And I hope people, connect with me. I am open, I am readily accessible. And excited to again just help in any way that I can, whether it's through my programs or somebody that I know that can help, or again interns. I get a lot of people sending me their children, so I do have journalism internships also for college students who are interested in the broadcast realm.
Oh, that is good. That is so good. And you're running internship programs and things like that. So I love that. That is one of the things that that is building your legacy. That is really when
Yeah,
you're giving to youth and that sort of thing. When I was in my early 30s, I did a organization called BART, Blacks in Advertising, Radio and Television, and it
yeah,
grew over a period of time. And we were doing scholarships.
that's
We were doing
wonderful.
scholarships, and then really just
Yeah.
making sure any student that was Black that was interested in advertising, radio, and television, that they would meet mentors and they
Oh,
would
that's
do
good.
internships. It's kind
Yep,
of like NABJ, but it was more from the advertising standpoint of those who want to go into that PR
on
and
that
advertising
side,
space.
right?
So yeah, so that's always important. And then some of those students today or the interns, I look at them now and they're doing
Yeah,
like, oh my
they're
God, you introduced
thriving.
me to this person and
Oh,
they're doing really well. And I'm like, okay, well, that's good. You're on your I said, so now
wow.
it's your time to give back. So you've got to
Yes,
go and make sure that you're doing that as well. So whenever someone helps us, and it's our obligation to go and help someone else as well, and
correct,
then just
correct.
keep it going and that sort of thing. But
Yeah,
I just really enjoy speaking with you today,
thank you
Kelsey. I
so
want you
much.
to hold on right after this,
Okay.
so that we can actually talk a little bit, and I want to introduce you to Sharon Morton and that
Oh,
kind of
awesome.
thing,
Okay,
and
that'd
then it
be
just kind of
great. Yeah.
yes, yes. So
Thank you so
with that,
much.
all right. Thank you so much for joining us. She is amazing, amazing. So make sure that you go to Kryptian.com. There you go, Kryptian.com. Uh, you see that? For those that are listening and can't see the thing, is KryptiaNN.com. Okay, so it's spelled out in case you're just listening on like iTunes or Spotify and that kind of thing. So you can actually get that. But with that, make sure that you like, that you subscribe, that you share this podcast out with people, because she dropped some gems. But what she really did is open the door for you to connect with her. And I always say that you are just maybe just one connection to your next place where you should go in your destiny. So make sure that you do that. And with that, I'm Pam Perry and I'm out. Take care. God bless.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages.